You're listening to This Summer Will Be Long by author Amilio Garcia. Narrated by Ed E. Ott. A personal work. Chapter 1. The trees cast dappled shadows in long streaks, striping the ground and breaking up the sunshine, a stark contrast to the clear, pale blue sky. A hint of damp lent a chill freshness to the early morning air, which promised to disappear with the heat of the day. Milo pushed the hammock and watched it swing sluggishly back and forth, devoid of life, left abandoned, as if grieving its own emptiness. How would he survive the entire summer? Alone? Waiting? Like the hammock? No one else was awake. He was by himself. The only sounds were those imbued by nature. The tap, tap, tap of a woodpecker resounded from somewhere inside the forest, but he couldn't see it, hidden as it was by the dense shade. The deeper you went, the more somber it became. He tried not to think about it, not to dwell on the darkness, but when he was alone like this, it troubled him. It was almost inevitable that his thoughts would drift there. "Milo! Milo!" Turning at the sound of his mother's voice. "I'm coming, maman." He reluctantly moved a step towards the rear veranda of the stone house. "You should wear a jumper outside," she smiled. His mother, as usual cheerful, was putting the bread and freshly brewed coffee on the rough wooden table. Like the house itself, that old table must have reigned center stage in the kitchen for centuries. There should be a certain reassurance given by those things, places and objects, that have stood the test of time. But the old house had always scared Milo. As a child, his imagination had warned him of hidden monsters lurking in abandoned corners or watching from the shadows of the forest. "Your uncle will be here today," his mother announced as she placed the blue and white ceramic butter dish next to the loaf of bread. Sitting at the table, he recalled his cousins pushing him into the attic and shutting him inside. In the cobwebby gloom, they made fun of him when he cried, calling him a sissy and crybaby. They had always bossed him around. His uncle, like his father, was kind but distant. The two men spent their time in each other's company, joining the family for meals and an occasional outing. But even on those rare occasions, Milo usually found himself surrounded by women, his mother, her sister, and his cousins. Left to his own devices, he would dream of imagined worlds where brave knights rode stallions and defeated fiery dragons, cut down ugly monsters, and set the world to rights. However, his cousins would drag him reluctantly into their fantasies, dress him up as a baby, or give him the role of a servant in their more risque adventures. He would be the patient. His eldest cousin was the doctor, the younger, the nurse. "Eat something. It's a long time till lunch," his mother said, having already laid out jam, cheese, and ham. She looked at him, moved closer, and brushed the hair back from his forehead. "I think you need a haircut. You can't stay all summer looking like a street urchin." A street urchin? He pondered the words. It was like a description straight from a novel by Dickens. His mother always had an inexhaustible vocabulary when it came to these sorts of expressions. It was easy to imagine they had been handed down from one generation to the next, like family heirlooms. "Tomorrow!" she exclaimed, somewhat excitedly, as if suddenly struck by a revelation. "Your father is going into town. I'll telephone and make an appointment." It was settled. No point arguing. In any case, he had nothing else to do, and he could escape his cousins. He finished buttering the slice of bread and reached over for the jam. His mother left the room, satisfied everything was in order. The town wasn't really a town at all, just a village. It had a tiny weekly market, post office, general store, and baker.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?